We have the Vancouver Canucks versus the Nashville Predators. Canucks coming in at minus 150 favorites, Predators at plus 125 underdogs. Season series, Vancouver swept 3-0. They outscored them 13-6, but all of those games were in the first half of the season before Nashville caught fire, basically. Fun fact, 6 of the 8 teams in the Western Conference playoff race this year were in the playoffs last year as well. But the two odd ducks are these two, the Canucks and the Preds. They were the two teams who disrupted the repeat playoff appearance. So, your guys' initial thoughts on this series?
Big time trap series right here. If you're the Vancouver Canucks, Nashville, I mean, we've talked
Yeah.
about West Coast fuck you hockey. That team can absolutely play that. They've got young guys that are skilled. We've talked about Luke Evangelista all year. But for me, it's just the fact that Saros at any given moment could wake up and start stealing games for him.
Yep. It also feels like out of all the series in the West, Nashville is probably the closest thing to playing with house money. Not a lot of pressure on them. I mean, I've heard some people saying Canucks playing with house money. Yes, they like weren't expected to be good this year, but they were for the whole year. And no one's going to be satisfied if they just made the playoffs now. You know what I mean? Like it's
Vancouver
Vancouver
in the playoffs.
Exactly.
We all know
Yeah.
how that goes.
So there's no like, yay, well, at least we made it here. Brighter times ahead. Nah, it doesn't work like that in Vancouver. So
If you're a bus driver in Vancouver, just, maybe lock that shit up extra good after your shift is over.
yeah, or just park it like somewhere really, really far away.
Or just leave Vancouver. Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
A lot of, or I'm sorry, you go, Mac.
No, I was just go ahead.
There's a lot of parallels in this series. So in terms of physicality, the Preds and the Canucks both had the fourth and fifth most hits in the NHL this season. So we could expect a lot of physicality in this one. Both teams have pretty good goaltenders. Demko, now that he's healthy, looked good in his last start of the season on that rehab where he's coming back. And then Saros was really, really good down the stretch, 15-3-3 in his last 21 games. Looked solid. And then what I would say, this is the best part for if you're a viewer or a fan, Norris Trophy matchup here. Roman Josi and Quinn Hughes. You could argue the two best defensemen in the league this season. That's going to be a treat to watch. You've got two first-year head coaches, too, Tocchet and Brunette. Tocchett's first full season at least. So there's a lot of similarities here.
Both guys in the Jack Adams conversation as well.
Yep.
I mean, holy shit. Quinn Hughes and Roman Josi are just two of the most special players to watch. I'm super excited to watch them go head to head. And arguably I'd say like two of my favorite players in the league. I got nothing but love for both of them.
No, absolutely. They deserve respect. I think it's interesting, Harry. You mentioned the travel between game 2 and game 3 of the series. They're going to get a full day for travel and another full day for rest. So it's really going to be like 3 days between game 2 and game 3.
The series is going to take forever.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I mean, think about it. You're flying from Tennessee to Vancouver. I mean, that is not an easy trip to do by any means.
I mean, if you look at these two teams, the Predators have a lot more experience. They've got 3 guys on their team who have all won cups, and 2 of them have done it twice. So you got McDonough and Shen, not to mention O'Reilly in there. If you look at like raw playoff game experience in general, Nashville's lineup has seen 818 playoff games versus Vancouver's 482. So they're basically doubling them in terms of experience. But when you look at the Canucks, they're a lot faster, right? I think we can all agree with that.
I think you make a great point about O'Reilly, though. I think that's a big question mark for Vancouver is how you're going to handle that, because we know what that guy can do in the postseason when he's
Dude
not
just
with the
flips
Leafs.
a
But
switch.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's disgusting in the playoffs, but
And
Vancouver's
face-offs and everything, he is a nightmare to go up against.
yeah. So what you have with experience and what I would call like, slug it out hockey, Nashville probably has the advantage there. But if this turns into a shootout, the Canucks are definitely going to have a little bit of an edge. A weird thing here, the Canucks play way, way better when they score the first goal of the game, and they're very good at doing that. They did it 53 times this season, the most in the NHL, and they were the best first period team in the league. So maybe the storm that comes in the
Important.
beginning of the game is like where Nashville's going to have to weather it.
It's important in the playoffs too to have good starts. I mean, that's that's everything for sure. So that's a big advantage.
And I know we've said this about a couple series already, but if you're Vancouver, you know that building's going to be jumping. If you're Nashville, I mean, Vancouver's going to have a tough time going into that building. Harry, you know that from the Stanley Cup final in what, 17? That is not an easy task to do.
So Vancouver's hosting their first playoff game in 9 years. The bubble year, it was, obviously a bubble. So Vancouver, for the first time since 2015, is hosting a playoff game. That place is going to be anarchy. So I want to ask you guys, what's your official pick on this series?
Fuck, this one's so hard. I came into this one thinking I totally had it figured out, and now that we've discussed, I'm kind of second guessing myself.
Never do that, Mac. Follow your intuition initially.
I think this will be extremely close. I'm going to go Canucks in 6.
I was gonna say Preds in 6, but I don't know. I'll say Preds in 7 as my official pick. Fuck it.
Also, this series reeks of some overtime nonsense, like double,
Yeah.
triple.
Yep.
Like if there's going to be a game in this playoffs, it's going to be out of this series.
I want Nashville, but I'm taking Van. I'm sorry, Nashville. I wanted it.
All right, then I'm happy I took Nashville, so we're not all lopsided there at least.
No, I'm gonna take Van, but I think it'd be 7.
Listen, I like both of these teams. I'd be perfectly happy with either result, but yeah, this will be a good one. All of them, we got lucky this year, boys. There's a lot of good matchups.